Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to give you the winning ingredients for your Week 5 Draftkings lineups we got going on this Sunday. All right, we're going to get this video out and early so you guys can digest this information. Be mindful of all injury reports because things can change. It's only Thursday, but still, you take it with a grain of salt. This information, you add whatever comes out with the new news, and then you adjust. Always comment down below if you have any questions, comments, because like I'm saying, this is coming out a little bit earlier. Things can change. If you have any questions, there's a big community down there below, and we're here to help. Okay, this is what I like to see. This is what I like to see. Earlier last week, I was around like 430, but we're already pushing 500. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Let's continue to push it. Hopefully, we get to 500 with this new video. I'm reaching a new audience, broader audience. More people are getting coming along with us for the ride, and we're going to continue to grow. Okay, better things are coming. Logo, banner, channel, everything. All right. Slow and steady, okay? Slow and steady, and the key is consistency. So we're going to continue with this pace. I appreciate you guys for the views. The last video was the Monday Night Football, 291. Thank you. And the last one was that Thursday night one right now. That game didn't get played yet. And that video has well over 500 views, 657. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. I'm so happy. But we're going to continue on, and we're going to keep going. Let's go into a little preview of last week, a little recap. And we were successful. I profited last week on the Sunday slate with the picks I gave. If you went over that video, and I went with matchups pretty much. Taylor Heineke going up against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons are the bottom pass defense in the league. So I was able to, I was like, you know what? I need a cheap quarterback so I could pay up at some other spots. He's that guy that can run out the backfield with his legs and get touchdowns, and he is not afraid to throw the ball. He was able to get 290 pass yards, 43 rush yards, and 3 TDs. He came through. Barkley, like I said, you got to take advantage of this new price with Saquon Barkley. He is back. RB1 Barkley is back. You have to take full advantage of it before he gets to well above 8K to that 9K range, right? Each and every week. It doesn't matter the matchup. He's getting 80 to 90% of the touches, okay? Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Philadelphia's weakness is that run game, and Edwards-Helaire was able to dominate 102 yards rushing. He had 12 yards receiving, 1 TD reception, and he got that bonus with going over 100 yards. I wanted to, do the Washington-Atlanta game stack. It went well over. It was a good game stack. Calvin Ridley didn't get into the end zone, but had a solid performance. McLaurin was the key to the lineup. Pairing him with Heineke and bringing it back with Ridley was the stack that I went with, and it was very well. You had Corey Davis going up against a poor Tennessee secondary, and this was a revenge game. 4 receptions, 111 yards. That's what I love to see. Kittle was the snowflake, but he really could have took me to that top end tier of the tournament. He had 11 targets, only caught 4 balls, but he had 11 targets. He had a touchdown, but Jamal Adams came through late and knocked it away on a hard hit. Kittle is going to break out very, very soon. He's getting a ton of targets. And he's going to break out. The old Kittle, you wait and see. Quez Watkins, I wanted to get another piece that was a little lower owned and definitely very, very explosive. Quez Watkins was the guy that I went with. He did okay, not great. And then Cowboys defense still came through. They're getting interceptions each and every game. They're getting interceptions. So this was a solid lineup. Remember, look for those tournaments that have not the 100,000, not the 200,000, around that 40,000 10,000, 5,000 range where you can really exploit some of these people that are in there, because would you rather face 100,000 people or 39,000 people? Okay. You have less. So you say you have a good lineup, you have less people coming after you when those 4 o'clock games come. This is a big factor. Okay, all right. Maybe when you get a bigger bankroll, then you can really attack those bigger tournaments. But you're gonna need 50, 100, 150 lineups in those bigger tournaments. Okay, so you guys know. Let's dive into week 5. Starting off with the quarterback position, we're gonna go with Kyler Murray. Let's keep it plain and simple. You don't need to, recreate the wheel. Kyler Murray and this Arizona Cardinals offense are on fire. Absolutely on fire. They've scored 30 points in their first 4 games. When is the team going to stop them? I don't know. But as long as they're not stopping them, I'm going to play Kyler Murray. AK Kyler Murray is too cheap. He has the rushing upside. He has the arm. He has the weapons. Everything is there for Arizona going up against a bad San Francisco defense, bad secondary in San Francisco. They have a solid front 7, but they can be exploited in the passing game. All right, next quarterback we're going to go with will be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers going up against Cincinnati. This is a game where it can be a big over. A big back and forth. A huge over coming here. We have a hampered Green Bay Packers defense. They lost Jair Alexander. They lost 2 pass rushers. Now you got Cincinnati. They don't have Jesse Bates. Their secondary has looking a little bit subpar now. So there's a lot of question marks coming in on both sides of the ball, which leans to the offense of Green Bay and the offense of Cincinnati. Okay, T. Higgins comes back in the fold for Cincinnati. So Burrow's going to have all his weapons, and this can be a big back and forth. I love Aaron Rodgers at 7,100 on the road against Cincinnati, okay? Quick comment about Tom Brady. This can be a setup spot. He just came off an emotional game against the New England Patriots. Now he's going against the former New England Patriots defensive coordinator and Flores. We got a little question here. Plus, we already know the troubles that Tom Brady has had going up against Miami in Miami. Or doesn't matter. The troubles he's gone against in Miami, period. Those in division matchups when it was Patriots and Dolphins, some of those losses in division were because of the Dolphins always played them tough. Now you get the former Patriots defensive coordinator who already knows Brady, and you think he's not going to be able to do something similar to what Bill Belichick has done. I think he will. I'm going to stay away from Tom Brady this week. That is my note. You can take it with a grain of salt, but give me someone with the passing upside and the rushing ability. I gave you Kyler Murray. He has both of those options. And I gave you Rodgers, who definitely has both of those options and better wide receivers. Okay? So, well, better one wide receiver. But next guy we're going to go with will be Jalen Hurts. All right? As long as he's healthy, we're going to play him at 7K. 6,400 was too cheap. 6,500 was too cheap. 6,800 was too cheap. 6,900 was too cheap. All right, each and every game he is taking it to the next level, man. Over 300 yards passing in back-to-back games. People question his arm. He was able to produce, obviously, in some blowout game scripts, but he's bringing it over on the rushing side as well. 8 for 47, 9 for 35, 10 for 82, and a touchdown. All right, that's what you want. So just in case things don't work well on the passing side, he always can balance it out with the rushing capability. And against Carolina, I think he can do that. Carolina is having some injuries in that secondary. They did add Stephon Gilmore, so that is a big plus to them. But the legs of Hurts will produce problems for the Carolina Panthers. And we like Hurts at 7K. Next quarterback we're going to go with will be Dak Prescott. This man, they didn't even need him to throw. But when it came to it, when he got to that red zone, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys offense are clicking. They're clicking on all cylinders. They got a nice 1-2 punch with Pollard and Zeke. They bring it with Dak Prescott and all of his weapons. This is a very hard train to stop. The Cowboys are coming for the Giants, and the Giants don't have answers for what the Cowboys are going to put on the field. They don't have answers. James Bradbury is not enough. It is not enough. And I like Dak Prescott at home going up against the Giants, a subpar defense, and what they can do on both sides of the ball, running and passing. I think it's too much. And yet again, we're going to ride Dak Prescott. I like maybe even a 30-point game from him. It depends on how competitive the Giants are going to keep this game, because yet again, Dallas Cowboys defense has been playing very well. Okay? So we like Dak Prescott. Next guy we're going to go with is going to be Daniel Jones. All right? Daniel Jones, this is the question. He's going up against a solid defense. Can he keep what he's been doing on a regular pace? Can he keep it going to the next level? He threw for 400 yards against the Saints. So, and that's a very good defense as well. And that was in New Orleans. So I'm kind of impressed from Daniel Jones, putting good, consistent fantasy production weeks, 3 out of the 4 weeks, right there, a 30 game, and he's bringing in the rushing attempts right here, 4 for 27, 8 for 39, 9 for 95, and 6 for 27. For the sake of Barkley, we're seeing the rushing attempts go down just a little bit, and we want more of those dump offs, because when it's coming to it, when he's doing his little going through the routes, and he decides if he wants to check down or not, if it's open, he's going to take the rushing yards and not dump it off. He's leaning towards doing that more often, but I think Barkley, he's looking 100% back now. I think those turn into more dump offs than rushing attempts, and Daniel Jones can keep himself out of danger in those scenarios. But we do like Daniel Jones at that 6K price, okay? Because I think this is a very back and forth game. I think the over hits in that game between the Giants and the Cowboys. Another guy we're going to look at will be Jameis Winston. Where's Jameis Winston? Jameis Winston going up against the Washington football team. And the question is, will he eat a W? I don't know. But I'm willing to take a chance on him throwing this ball against that poor Washington defense. They're not the same defense as last year. They're being exploited in the secondary, and the pressure's not really getting to the quarterback. So this could be a crazy, interception game from Winston. But what I've seen out of Washington leads me to believe that I'm willing to take the risk on him, and I think the Saints get back. And that was an embarrassing loss against the Giants. They had that win in the bag. I think they bounced back against Washington, and I think it's going to be on the shoulders of Jameis Winston and getting Kamara back into that passing game. He had no receptions last game, so that was a big question mark. But this is another high-scoring environment where you got going between New Orleans and Washington, and I'll take a shot on Winston. You can have a little squidge of him, not full bloom love, but have a smidge of him. Another guy, I already spoke about liking Aaron Rodgers, so that means I like Joe Burrow. If this is going to be a back and forth, he has T. Higgins back. He has his full complement of wide receivers. The loss, maybe Joe Mixon is going to be out, so they're going to lean on the pass just a little bit more. So that's another positive for him. Let's move over to the running back position. Excuse me. And for this week, I really want to pay up. I really do. There's a lot of guys at this higher RB price that I really want. First one we're going to talk about, my favorite will be Dalvin Cook at 8,400 going up against the Detroit Lions. This is the worst rush defense in the league, is the Detroit Lions. And we're going to take full advantage of that as long as he is practicing and is healthy and willing to take the shot. Okay, had a tough matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Now you got him going up against the Detroit Lions, which have been being exploited the last previous weeks in that rush game. And this can be a sneaky option because you're getting a guy with that Q tag. People are going to shy away from it. and you're going to miss a big, big boom game from Dalvin Cook that he hasn't had yet this year. Plus, you're getting him under 9K and a very cheap price. You know he's going to get a ton of usage, and this is the Minnesota Vikings bread and butter at home. It's a perfect match. So you could do Minnesota defense, match it with Dalvin Cook, going up against a very bad Detroit Lions team, and you can have a solid start to your lineup already. I'm all in on Dalvin Cook, all in. Next guy we're going to go with will be Derrick Henry going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he has a nice history of dominating the Jaguars, okay? A big, big performance last week against the Jets, and that's just because of volume. Also because there was no A.J. Brown, no Julio Jones, so they had to lean on Derrick Henry, and he did very well. 33 rushes, 157 yards rushing, 1 TD, and 2 receptions, okay? So we love Derrick Henry at 9K. Next guy we're going to go with will be, as long as he's healthy, we can go back to the well to Christian McCaffrey. The weakness of Philadelphia Eagles is that rush defense, and I spoke about it last week with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Actually, Darrell Williams went off as well. Both of those running backs had a great day against Philadelphia. This is what Carolina leans on. They lean on McCaffrey. If he is back, then we can go back to 8,700 McCaffrey. I'll take 20 touches. I'll take 20. You don't got to give him 30 like he's used to. Just give him 20, and I think that's still enough for him to go off against Philadelphia's bad rush defense. All right. Next guy we're going to go with will be Ezekiel Elliott going up against the Giants. And they're feeding this man. They are feeding this man. As you can see, they struggle. They went away from the game plan in week 1. That's because Tampa Bay's good rush defense. And then you see it go up. And then you see it go up again. And then you see it go up against Carolina. 20 attempts, 143 yards. They're giving him enough breaks. He's losing a little bit of the receiving work to Tony Pollard, but that's okay because they are feeding him in this rush game. This line is back to being the dominant self for the Dallas Cowboys. And at 7K, this is a nice price for him going up against the Giants, okay? As I like Ezekiel, that means I also like Barkley. I told you that he's too cheap. As long as he's under 8K, under 9K, really, I'm going to play him each and every week. Look at the targets. 3 in week 1, 3 in week 2, then the boost, all right? This is where the 70 to 80% snaps come. 7 targets, 6 targets. He had 5 for 74 and a touchdown, and then a rushing touchdown against New Orleans. He is back. We're going to ride Saquon Barkley to his glory, okay? To his glory. So I'll throw him in there as well. Next running back we're going to talk about will be Damian Williams for the Chicago Bears. And Damian Williams right here is filling in for David Montgomery, the former running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. Him and Khalil Herbert will be sharing some work for the Chicago Bears. So this is a decent, it's a solid matchup. You saw what Austin Eckler did to the Raiders on Monday Night Football. So Damian Williams, I can see him doing something similar to that, rushing and receiving. And this is a decent mid-range option if you're trying to save some salary. You can go with Damian Williams. All right. Next guy we're going to go with will be Damian Harris. Damian Harris of New England has struggled the past few weeks. As you can see, the game script, he's been going up against very tough rush defenses. New Orleans and Tampa Bay back-to-back very good rush defenses. And that's why I was really surprised by Barkley. Barkley destroyed New Orleans in that second half in overtime. So Damian Harris going up against an easier matchup in the Houston Texans, another bottom team in the league. And I think they get things back cooking, all right? They tell Mac Jones you can relax. We understand what happened in the last 2 weeks. We had to lean on you. But now we're going to get back to our bread and butter, and that's running the ball down people's throats. Not saying he's going to have a huge game, but I should see, you're going to see an uptick in carries. All right, back to what you saw in week 1 and week 2, around that 16 to 20 range. You'll see Damian Harris, maybe a catch here and there, okay? But we like him at that cheap price. Next guy we're going to go with will be Trey Sermon. Trey Sermon for the San Francisco 49ers going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals, who are 4-0. They look unstoppable, but they do have one weakness, and that's that rush defense. As you can see, 26th ranked rush defense. And as long as Elijah Mitchell is going to be out, you got to watch the news, okay? Watch the news. If Elijah Mitchell is healthy, then we do expect a split between these two running backs. All right, we cannot trust this offense. Okay, we cannot trust Shanahan, what he's going to do with his running backs. If Elijah Mitchell is in, play Sermon with caution. But if he is out, then we are all in on Trey Sermon against Arizona. Okay, this is a very good matchup for him, and I really want him to succeed. I thought he was Shanahan's favorite, but maybe later down in the season things turn around and they could just focus on one guy, but we will see. You got to watch. All right, watch and pay attention to the news. Next guy we're gonna go with, last but not least, will be Kenneth Gainwell for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's slowly taking the reins away from Miles Sanders, outperforming him in games, getting more snaps in each and every game. He was able to do very well against KC, 3 for 31 with a TD, and the key to him was that receiving game. 6 receptions, 8 targets, 58 yards. He got you a 20 fantasy point game as the backup running back behind Miles Sanders, all right? And when I see this man really does look like LaShawn McCoy, okay? If you haven't watched Kenneth Gainwell, he really does look like LaShawn McCoy. So this is someone to have if you really have just a little bit of salary left and someone that has some potential and some upside. Kenneth Gainwell can be that guy for you. Let's now move over to the wide receiver position. So with the wide receiver position, I'm going to pair all my wide receivers with the quarterbacks I already spoke about. So the main guy I spoke about was Kyler Murray. What are Kyler Murray's wide receivers? You got DeAndre Hopkins, you got AJ Green, and you got Christian Kirk. I like these guys on this team. I'll throw Hopkins in the lineup so you guys can see, but I like all of them. Hopkins has yet to go off this season. A weakness of San Francisco is that secondary, and I want to fully exploit it. There should not be an answer for him, okay? They are doubling him, but maybe it's a part of the scheme where if they're seeing DeAndre Hopkins double, they're not even going to waste time. They're not going to force the ball in there. They're going with AJ Green. They're going with Rondale Moore. They're going with Christian Kirk. They're going with Max Williams. There are a ton of options on Arizona, but the week of Hopkins going off, I'm going to guess will be this week, okay? I want that performance like he did in week 1 against Tennessee, and he is an elite wide receiver. Other guys to look at will be Christian Kirk. I think he bounces back. He's been doing a good game, bad game, good game, bad game thing. So maybe this is the good game. So it's a back and forth for Rondale Moore and Kirk. One's good, one's bad. One's good, one's bad. Another consistent guy has been AJ Green. I'm sorry. I apologize. I called him dust. But I can't deny what's been very consistent. And what's been consistent is the targets each and every game, getting touchdowns here and there. It's a perfect compliment to Hopkins. All right, perfect compliment to Hopkins. Next wide receiver group we're going to go over will be the Green Bay Packers. And these are the guys I want to pair with Aaron Rodgers. That would be Devonta Adams at 8,200. Let's see how he's been doing. He bounced back in the previous game, 6 for 64. Had a great game against San Francisco. Hopefully he does one of those type of performances if you're paying up for him. If you want to go with a cheaper option, then I would choose Randall Cobb. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers asked for Cobb to be back, and you should take advantage. With Marquez Valdes-Scantling on the IR, Randall Cobb is going to be that safety blanket for Aaron Rodgers. 5 for 6 targets, 69 yards, and 2 TDs. This is the old Randall Cobb. This is very surprising. But someone that's at 4K, probably going to be lower owned. Very sneaky option. I like Randall Cobb at that cheap price at $4,000. Next wide receiver group will be the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, with the Eagles, you understand that Hurts can do it by himself. He really can. But if I'm choosing some options, I'm going to lean on Devonta Smith right here at 5,900. He came on in the previous game finally after 2 bad weeks against KC, which was a perfect game for him. He just didn't get in the end zone. Came through with 7 receptions, 122 yards. That's what I like to see for him. So I like him. And if you need another option, then I would go with Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor at 4,200. A poor performance against KC, but he's been that number 2 guy, as you can see against Dallas. 8 targets, 5 targets, and 6 targets. Needs to get in that end zone. But the main 2 guys will be Devonta Smith and will be Dallas Goedert, okay, if you're going to go with the Philadelphia stack. Next will be the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers, and that's CeeDee Lamb and that's Amari Cooper. A Cooper at 6,100. He's cheaper than Lamb. If you want to be a little bit more contrarian and go with the cheaper guy, you can. He will be seeing Bradbury coverage, but Cooper is an elite route runner. That's what makes him very special. He's one of the favorite targets for Dak Prescott, and so is CeeDee Lamb at 6,200. I'm waiting for this man to break out. This can be a very sneaky option right here because you're waiting. You're waiting. The Dallas Cowboys have so many options on offense. This hopefully is the week for CeeDee Lamb to finally prosper. All right. Next wide receiver group will be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I like Trevor Lawrence this week going against the poor Tennessee Titans defense. That's an extra cheap quarterback to throw in the pool will be Trevor Lawrence. With the injury to DJ Shark, Shenault seen a huge boost in targets and receptions. This is what we saw similar in the preseason where he was just getting fed. He saw 10 targets in week 1, 7 in week 2, 4 and then 7 in week 4, 6 or 7, 499 yards, didn't get an end zone, also had a rush. This man is that slot guy getting used all around the field. Shenault is a very good play at 4,800. Let me take one of these guys out and put him in there so you guys know this is one of my favorite plays right here. Shenault at that cheap price. Marvin Jones obviously is a great choice as well. He's more of the deep guy, and the first 3 weeks, he really stepped up as the number 1. 5 for 77, 6 for 55, and 6 for 62. But the targets were there. 9, 11, and 8. That's what you want to see from him. Consistency. And Trevor Lawrence in some situations where he needs someone to rely on, it has been Marvin Jones. All right. And that poor Tennessee pass defense, they should exploit. Okay. Next wide receiver group, last but not least, will be the New Orleans Saints. And I think this can finally be Marquez Callaway week. I think I want to pair him with Winston. Marquez Callaway was a darling in preseason. He's yet to break out despite the one good game against New England. Now he's going up against Washington. He has the catchability. He has the speed. He can put it all together in one game. I'm hoping for it for this week. He was 2 for 74 against the Giants. Hopefully, this week he'll get his receptions, get over 100 yards, and a touchdown going up against Washington. I like Callaway at 4,700. So there's some decent options below 5K where you can go to and get you a solid wide receiver who has big upside, okay? Next guy I want to go to, all right? Actually, not even next guy. We're going to go to the next position. Okay, last two. All right. I got 2 more wide receivers. A.J. Brown. We're going to speak about him really quick. If we're doing the Jacksonville stack or game stack, we can bring it back with him. As long as he's healthy, then he's going to be the number 1 because Julio looks like he's going to be out. At least A.J. Brown is practicing, and he's yet to break out this year. Yet to have a 20 fantasy point game. So A.J. Brown is super due. And the only other cheap guy I'm looking at is Quintez Cephas for the Detroit Lions, and he's been very solid. Double-digit fantasy points in 3 out of the last 4 games, and that's what I like to see. going up against a Minnesota team that's been very up and down defensively. Obviously, he only struggled against Baltimore, but I like to see what out of what I've seen out of the last previous games. 4 for 83, 4 out of 63, and then that touchdown against the 49ers. He's looking like the number 2 in that Detroit Lions offense as a pass catcher. Okay. So we like him. Now let's go over to the tight end position, and I have some decent options for you here. And I spoke about one of them already. Kittle. Kittle. We're going to keep going back to this Kittle well until he pays off because he's getting too cheap. 5,600. When's the last time you saw a Kittle at 5,600? Okay. That's like having Darren Waller at 5,600. That's like having Kelsey at 5,600. Kittle is going to go off very, very soon. Against Green Bay, 9 targets, 7 to 92, okay? He almost had 100 yards in that game. He had 7 receptions. And then against Seattle, he was lucky that Trey Lance came in. He was overthrowing him. I think Garoppolo is trending towards playing in this game. But he had 4 receptions, 11 targets for 40 yards. He came out on fire in that first quarter, and then things slowed down because the game got out of hand. But I like to see the targets going his way. 11. He had 20 targets in the last 2 weeks. Let's go with Kittle finally breaking out. We're hopefully, please. Next tight end we're going to go with will be Mike Gesicki going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a matchup play. He's been connecting very well with Jacoby Brissett. 10 for 86 with 12 targets, 5 for 57 with a touchdown in the game against Indianapolis. Brissett always likes tight ends. He did it with the Colts. Now he's doing it with the Miami Dolphins. Gesicki can be a very solid mid-range tight end price guy. And in a very good matchup where they're going to be down probably and they need to make up some ground and make up some points, Gesicki can be the guy that Brissett can lean on. Next guys we're going to go to is 2 guys. And it's going to be in New England guys because they are in a very good matchup. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. You're going to have to pick one or the other. You're going to have to pick up one or the other, and hopefully you're correct. Hopefully. But luckily last week they both did well against Tampa Bay. So another match I just spoke about Gesicki going up against Tampa Bay. Patriots tight ends did good against Tampa Bay. Now we got these Patriots tight ends going up against the Houston Texans. 4 for 32 and a touchdown for Hunter Henry. And Jonnu Smith was able to have a solid day as well. Let me just get to him. Jonnu Smith was able to do, 3 for 14 and a touchdown. Thank God he got in the end zone. Or unless he would have been bad. But the more consistent option has been Hunter Henry. But it could be one or the other. All right, just be mindful of that. The next tight end we're going to go with will be Dalton Schultz. He has been putting on a big performance the past 2 weeks. Nice safety blanket for Dak Prescott. 6 of 80 with 2 TDs against Philly. 6 of 58 in a TD against the Carolina Panthers. Now he's going up against another poor defense going up against tight ends, and that's the New York Giants. Dalton Schultz can hopefully have another double-digit game. His price has risen to $4,400, but I still think there's meat on the bone in this very good offense, okay? In this very, very good offense with the loss of Gallup. There needs to be a safety net for Dak Prescott, and it looks to be Dalton Schultz, all right? And then last but not least will be Evan Ingram. Dallas's weakness is the tight end position, and in back-to-back weeks, he's been getting the looks from Daniel Jones. 6 targets in week 3, 6 targets in week 4, 5 for 27. Got a rush last week. So they're back to using Evan Ingram like they did last year, where he was one of the focal points of the offense, but just still didn't break out because he didn't break out or he dropped the ball. There was a lot of question marks for Evan Ingram, but Evan Ingram is at a price where he shouldn't be. 3,200. Evan Ingram is a 5K at least tight end, not 3,200. And there's still definitely meat on that bone. I like Evan Ingram as a cheaper option at the tight end position. All right. So let's throw Kittle in here in this lineup. Remember, I can't fully fill it out, but Here's are some of my favorite options. All right, and you still got salary left. You go super cheap. No, you really don't got that much salary left, but you're gonna have to make some decisions here because I did go expensive on some guys. As you can see, I paid up for running back, paid up for quarterback, and one wide receiver. Okay, so you gotta be mindful of that. Last but not least is the defenses. Pretty much whatever you can afford. I prefer the Patriots defense going up against Davis Mills. You got Belichick going up against a rookie quarterback. Every time I can get that, I want to exploit it each and every time. And then another sneaky defense is the Cowboys. Each of the first 4 weeks, they've gotten 2 interceptions, as you can see. 2 interceptions against Tampa Bay, Chargers, Philly, and Carolina. 5 sacks against Carolina. They're putting up solid points. All right, they're not killing you, and they're keeping you around that 10. They went over 10 points once, but they keep you around that range, and that's all I ask for. Okay, don't give me negative from my defense. Do not give me negatives. All right. And that will be the breakdown for week 5. Let me know in the comment section down below. Are there any other guys at quarterback, running back, wide receiver, or tight end that you guys prefer? Is there a game script where you think the over will hit and we can really exploit it with a stack? So please like, comment, subscribe down below. Continue to push these numbers up. We're at 491. Let's get over 500. Let's get to 1,000. That's going to be the next goal. All right. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MessNetchSD, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Peace out, guys.